Donald Trump came with big promises. He said he'll end the war in Ukraine in 1 day. It's been 55 days since he took office. Forget ending the war or striking a peace deal. They don't even have a ceasefire. So now the US president is having doubts. Donald Trump feels that Vladimir Putin could be dragging his feet, that he may not even want a ceasefire. The US president gave an interview. Listen to what he said, and I'm quoting, "I think that Russia wants to see an end to it, but it could be they're dragging their feet. I've done it over the years. I don't want to sign a contract. I want to sort of stay in the game, but maybe I don't want to do it quite. I'm not sure." This is what he said. These are his words. Trump said all of this yesterday on a day when the US claimed a breakthrough in negotiations. They've been holding talks in Saudi Arabia. The Americans have been speaking to the Russians and the Ukrainians. All three parties are in Riyadh, and they've held marathon talks. So yesterday, the US made an announcement. It said fighting would stop in the Black Sea. Now, the Black Sea is a strategically important region. It serves as a key transit point to Europe. Since the war began, it has seen intense fighting. Both Ukraine and Russia want to control the Black Sea. Russia has tried to enforce a blockade there because Ukraine needs the Black Sea. First, to defend its coastline, and second, to facilitate its exports. Ukrainian goods like food grains travel through the Black Sea. Now, the US has said that both sides will stop their attacks. There will be no fighting in the Black Sea. A ceasefire. They made it sound like a done deal. Except it wasn't. The Russians promptly derailed it. They laid out some preconditions for this deal. Russia said it wants some Western sanctions to be lifted first, like the curbs on food and fertilizer exports. Also, the sanctions on Russian banks. They want all these sanctions to be lifted. Russia wants its banks to be reintegrated into the SWIFT system. SWIFT is a banking network. It facilitates international money transfers. To make a transfer from one country to another, you need the SWIFT system. When this war began, Russia was kicked out of SWIFT. And now Moscow wants back in. It is their prerequisite for a deal in the Black Sea.
It can be activated after fulfilling several conditions. In fact, these are the same conditions included in the Black Sea Initiative under the guarantees of Mr. Guterres, which worked for a certain period. All the conditions were fulfilled except the conditions related to the Russian side. Therefore, this time, justice must prevail, and we will continue our work with the Americans.
Remember, these demands are just for the ceasefire, the precursor for a peace deal, and the US is nowhere close to it. On the ground, the fighting continues. Ukraine is facing relentless attacks. In the last 2 days, Russian forces have launched more than 200 drones. Kyiv says it has managed to intercept most of them. It is also striking back. Russia says Ukraine has launched counterattacks. It has targeted a gas storage facility in Crimea. But no damage was reported. Basically, both sides are firing, and the world is nowhere close to ending this war. Of course, the United States knows it. A new intelligence report is out. It has been presented to American lawmakers, and this report warns that the war in Ukraine may continue for longer. And the assessment is quite revealing. The US believes that neither Russia nor Ukraine is ready to make real concessions. They prefer a longer war to a bad deal. That there is greater incentive to prolong the conflict, according to both Russia and Ukraine. So they will keep fighting. That is the conclusion of this American intelligence report. It directly challenges President Trump's claims. He keeps promising a swift end to the war, but now he appears to be having doubts. He cannot say for sure if Vladimir Putin is going to accept this deal. So this is where we stand. After 3 years of fighting and almost 2 months of Trump's mediation, there is no peace deal on the table, and that has not stopped the US from negotiating with Ukraine. This time we're talking about the minerals deal. That negotiation is on parallelly. Zelensky has revealed that the US has sent a new proposal to Kyiv, a new agreement for Washington to access Ukraine's minerals.
Yesterday, my team briefed me on the new agreement with the US on minerals. As of now, it's a big, full agreement with how the Americans see it to be. There were the early steps in the framework agreement, if you remember, and after this framework the full agreement has to be developed. Now, the American side proposed to us one big agreement, immediately. This is their view. I don't have any details yet with the Americans.
He did not share the specifics, but he did say that Ukraine's parliament would approve the pact. Trump has been pushing for this. He wants access to Ukraine's natural resources. He believes that the US deserves it as repayment for giving military support to Kyiv. But without a peace deal, this may not fly. You cannot mine rare earths from an active war zone. You need peace or a ceasefire at the very least, both of which remain out of Trump's reach at the moment.
Greeting you with aloha and namaste.
I love India.
Presence, occupation of a territory by another country pertains to India, what we saw in Kashmir.
How do you see Trump's America?
Yes, the current administration behaves differently from the previous administration.
Are you saying that there are foreign powers who are trying to bring down the current government in Syria?
Exactly.
Iran, maybe Russia too.
Prime Minister Modi committed to South-South, cooperation.
Not over 50%.
Is Ukraine prepared to pay the price for that peace?
No compromises at the cost of territorial integrity and sovereignty.